What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today Treyarch did a live stream talking about a lot of things that we can expect to see within Black Ops 4 in the near future. Tomorrow we're actually going to be getting quite a big update, and that's going to come with a decent amount of this stuff, although not everything that we're going to talk about today. Keep in mind, I am going to focus on Blackout as well as multiplayer. I won't be talking about zombies at all. They are getting a new map over there, but I don't really care about zombies, so I don't know anything about that. But we are going to start it off with Blackout. I will try to remember to put a timestamp somewhere on the screen or in the description or something like that, so you guys can skip ahead to multiplayer for those of you guys that aren't interested in the Blackout news. So the first thing that's coming to Blackout is the EMP grenade. This is coming from multiplayer over to Blackout, although it will be balanced different. And at first I was really skeptical when I heard EMP grenade, but when they started talking about what the EMP will do, I think it might actually be a really good addition to Blackout. So what they mentioned is, yes, it will be countering equipment like barricades or mesh mines, things like that, but more importantly, EMP grenades are going to temporarily disrupt vehicles. This is awesome news in my opinion. I feel in the game's current state, it can be really frustrating when you get people that refuse to leave the vehicles and they just drive around running people over, especially on console where it's very difficult to track people on vehicles oftentimes, especially with their really tight turning radius. This is going to add just another element that allows you to properly counteract those vehicle users, and I'm actually really looking forward to the addition of the EMP grenade. Also in Blackout, they will be adding the Sparrow, which is Outrider's bow that has explosive tipped arrows, and with this they will be found in care packages just like War Machines as well as the Purifier. And with it, we get 10 shots, and they did say that it is balanced quite differently from multiplayer, so with that, I'm hoping the explosive damage is toned down really significantly, because I feel like that would be way too overpowered. Let's just say you're having the typical fight where your enemy is hiding behind a tree and you're hiding behind a tree. Assuming the Sparrow was like multiplayer, all you would have to do is fire one shot to the left or right of the tree, and then you blow that guy up, and there's not much of a counter for him. So I'm really hoping that's not the case, otherwise the Sparrow would be very, very annoying. So we definitely have to wait and see how that ends up turning out with the Sparrow, but as long as they keep the explosive damage in check, I think that could be a pretty fun addition to the Blackout mode. And also, it is nice that they will be in care packages only, so it's not like we're going to see a ton of them floating around the map at all times. This brings us to the next Blackout change, and this is to the collapse damage, or how the collapse damage works. In order to counteract the people that at the end of the games, they would hoard up their medical supplies and then they'd be using Outlander as well as Consumer, which would allow them to stay alive for an extremely long period of time outside of the circle, what they're going to be doing with this update tomorrow is they're going to be scaling the collapse damage the longer you stay in the collapse. So for somebody that's accidentally in the collapse for a little bit of time, it's going to deal the same amount of damage as it always did. But if you're somebody that's hanging out in the collapse for a very long period of time, it's going to deal more and more damage as time goes on, and therefore it's going to counteract that strategy of completely avoiding the circle at the end of the game and just trying to out-heal the people that were actually trying to stay in the circle. So that's good news. It generally won't affect most games because it's not like you were running into people doing that every single game, but it should eliminate those really frustrating endgame situations. Now, in addition to the Sparrow, they're also adding the Demo Hammer melee weapon to Blackout, and it's very likely we will be seeing this for multiplayer as well with the new mini event that we'll be getting tomorrow, but we'll get into that a little bit later. And with this, it's just a standard melee weapon that has different animations. According to Vondahar, this will be balanced exactly the same as the Bowie knife, so there won't be any advantages to using the Demo Hammer over the Bowie knife, but it looks like they will be adding that into the game tomorrow. There was also a little bit of talk about Ambush 2.0, so Ambush is coming back. We don't know for sure what the date is. It might come back tomorrow, or it might be like next week or something like that. But with this, they've made adjustments from the first Ambush mode. So what they've done is they've completely removed ATVs as well as the ARAV, which is great news in my opinion. When Ambush was available, that was actually one of the most effective strategies, was to just get yourself in an ATV and run everybody over, because all they had was sniper rifles and Bowie knives. So those are no longer going to be in the Ambush game mode. Also, they decided to remove the SDM from that mode, which I think also is a really good idea for that particular mode. It really makes it more of a true sniping mode because the SDM is more like a marksman rifle than a proper sniper rifle. So I think that's also a great change to keep things really focused on the sniping. But they also mentioned they're going to be adding shotguns to the Ambush mode. And initially, I was thinking that really goes against the whole Ambush thing because Ambush was all about sniping, but then I thought back to when we were playing Ambush and we had Bowie knives, which are basically just as powerful, if not more powerful than shotguns anyways, so I really don't think shotguns will be too much of an issue here. And also, the last change that they're going to be making to Ambush 2.0 is they're going to be adding more 4x scopes, so you're going to be able to find scopes a lot more effectively. I do remember quite a bit when I was playing that mode, there were situations where it took me quite a long time to get a proper scope, so I was just running around with an iron sight on my sniper rifle. and it'll be nice to have more of those 4x sights around so that it's more of like a proper sniping mode. Also with Blackout, they did mention that they are making some adjustments to the after action report just so it displays information a little bit better, like information about challenges and stuff. This is probably going to be a relatively minor change, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that will be coming tomorrow. And finally for Blackout, unfortunately they only kind of hinted at this. They didn't really give us any information. It looks like Alcatraz will be coming either to the Blackout map or as a separate Blackout experience. We still don't know exactly what's going on with that. This was teased at the end of the Grand Heist trailer that we got, and it also looks like Blackout will be at night at some point when this new point of interest or Blackout map launches. And since we didn't really get any information on this, and it was just very briefly teased at, it's highly unlikely that this is coming with tomorrow's update. It's more likely going to be in the next few weeks. They said it's going to cap off the Grand Heist event, so we can expect to see that at some point within the next like 2 or 3 weeks, but it doesn't look like it's coming tomorrow. So that's everything we could expect to see with Blackout. Now let's move on to multiplayer. And with multiplayer, it does look like tomorrow we will be getting a weapon balancing update. So some of the weapons will be changing. Keep in mind, I will be covering these in great detail on my channel once we actually get the update. So a little bit later in the week, I'll be covering these. But based on what Tony Flame said, some of the SMGs will be getting very slight buffs, things like handling and stuff like that. So nothing too major, but there will be some slight buffs coming to some of the SMGs. Also, it looks like pistols will be getting buffed across the board, which is really nice to see, because in their current state, I feel like aside from the Mozu with Skull Splitter, the pistols are kind of useless. Also, the Paladin is going to be getting 1 extra bullet in the magazine, but at the same time, they will be slowing the reload speed a little bit. So for those snipers out there that are going for the kill feeds, you're going to have that 1 extra bullet. And there was also mention of a KN57 as well as an ABR-223 buff coming tomorrow, which I think is great news. I still think the KN57 is a super underrated gun, but it looks like they're going to show it even more love here. So eventually people will catch on and realize how good it is. In addition to that, it looks like they're going to be buffing the SDM a little bit, and they're going to be increasing the fire rate potential of the SDM, which I think is good news for multiplayer. And also, it looks like there's going to be a very slight global flinch reduction. So that's really good news. They're going to be reducing flinch slightly. I don't really feel like flinch is a super big issue in the current state of Black Ops 4, but I am happy to see that they will be reducing it slightly. So that's it for the weapon balancing changes they mentioned, but something else they mentioned, and this is really exciting news, I hope that this actually ends up working out, is Treyarch has been working on developing a system to better track hit detection issues, and therefore, hopefully we will start to see hit detection improvements over time. Keep in mind, this isn't likely to immediately solve all hit detection issues. They said it's something that allows them to track hit detection issues more effectively and therefore make changes based on that information. So I wouldn't expect with tomorrow's update suddenly hit detection is perfect with the game by any means, but it is really nice to see that they are actively working towards improving hit detection in this game. This brings us to Barebones. Finally, the Barebones playlist is coming tomorrow, and with this, we are going to be seeing Team Deathmatch as well as Domination for both core as well as hardcore. And in the Barebones mode, there will be no specialists at all, so no specialist abilities, no specialist equipment, and also no gear. So this means no body armor, no stim shot, nothing like that. But they are keeping manual healing, and this concerns me just a little bit, mainly just because I'm somebody that uses stim shot all the time in Black Ops 4, and I do feel like the base manual healing regeneration time is a little bit on the slow side, and I feel like that will be slowing the Barebones mode down quite a bit. Personally, since they are going with Barebones and it's supposed to bring back the feel of previous Call of Duty games, I would have preferred seeing an automatic heal system. But we'll just have to wait and see how this ends up playing out. Maybe it's not going to be as big of a deal as I think. Also with the Barebones mode, I should mention with the equipment that you choose, so the standard grenade or stun grenade and things like that, this is going to go back to the classic sort of system where you always respawn with it and you only get to use it once per life. So it's not on a cooldown, it's not always replenishing itself, and also every time you die on respawn, you will have one ready to go. Now, they did also briefly mention that Infected will be coming, although not likely tomorrow. This is probably going to be coming next week or like the week after, something like that. I would expect Infected to be coming within the next 2 weeks, though. And they didn't really reveal too much information on that. They basically just mentioned that it is coming. So finally, the last thing they talked about multiplayer-wise is we will be getting a new version of the Arsenal map, and this is going to be Arsenal Sandstorm. Now, in the stream, they didn't really say for sure when this would be released, but it does look like it might be released tomorrow. And with this, it's going to be a sandstorm version, and they did say that the sandstorm will be limiting your visibility at longer ranges, and it will be affecting how people play the map. So that one sniper lane on the one side of the map, on the open area of the map, they mentioned that you're no longer going to be able to snipe across that entire lane because you won't be able to see through the sandstorm. So I am interested to see how that one ends up playing out. And with that, that pretty much wraps it up for everything they mentioned when it comes to Blackout as well as multiplayer in today's live stream. Overall, it seems like they're definitely on the right track. A lot of these changes are very good. Not necessarily everything that I ever wanted with the game was addressed, but the changes they will be making look to be, at least in general, steps in the right direction. But of course, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about all of these changes and all of this information that we got in today's live stream? Are you generally excited about this information, or are there a few things that you're really not excited for? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.